Post a picture of your project with hashtag clubcrochet for a chance to win a free 30-day membership to clubcrochet.com. Hey there, I'm Louie, and in this video we're going to be making this crocheted Santa hat, or elf hat in my case. Really quick before I get started, if you want a free downloadable PDF version of this pattern, click the link on the screen now, in the description below, or by going to clubcrochet.com/Santa hat. Also, this pattern is split up into 3 different videos. In the first video, we'll be making the main section of my hat, which is in green right here. In the second video, we'll be making the brim and the pom-pom. And in the third video, we'll be making these elf ears that get buttoned onto the side. The third video is a Club Crochet exclusive, meaning that you'll need a Club Crochet membership in order to access it. Members get things like early access to the patterns and projects that you see on this YouTube channel, extra patterns like the elf ears and a bunch of amigurumi, and kits that get mailed directly to your door with all the materials that you need. This month's kit is actually for this crocheted Santa hat. Plans start at only $5 a month, and you can learn more about it at clubcrochet.com. Alright, let's get hooking. For this pattern, I'm using a medium weight acrylic yarn and a size I 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So to start off, we're going to make a slip knot. You can use the magic loop method here if you'd like, but I'm going with the chain 2 method instead. So to start, I'm going to chain 2. Okay. For round 1, we're going to single crochet 6 times in the second chain from the hook, right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to work around the tail here. 5 and 6. Okay. Now let's get something so we can keep track of where our rounds begin and end. I've got a long piece of white yarn here. Might be a little too long. Let's cut it up. Let's cut it in half. Okay, so I'm going to pull this yarn through the last stitch here in the round, and this way I can keep track of where the round begins and ends. Okay, for round 2, we're going to be working up to 9 stitches around. So in the first stitch from the hook, you want to do a single crochet. And then you'll be working an increase in the next. Oh, and let's work around this tail here. Okay. And now we'll be working a single crochet in the next stitch. You'll be repeating this process 3 times total. So we'll do it again. Single crochet. This will be our 4th stitch. And for our 5th and our 6th stitch, we'll be doing an increase in the next. Okay, so again, let me go through that because I feel like I'm rushing it. It's a single crochet and then an increase, and a single crochet and then an increase. And then we'll repeat that one more time. A single crochet. And then an increase right here. Okay, and we're going to work around this for our next round. That way we know where our round ends. Okay, so for round 3, we're going to be working a single crochet in the first 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then an increase in the next right here. 3 and 4. And then you're going to repeat that process of 2 single crochets and then an increase 3 times total. That's going to bring you up from 9 stitches to 12 stitches. So there's 4, 5, 6, and we'll do another increase. 7 and an 8. Okay, one more time. 9
10. Then our last increase right here, 11 and 12. Okay, so let's pull this up a little bit. So for the next round, let's move this guy in front so we can work around it. Keep track of where we are. For the next round, actually for the next 2 rounds, we're going to just single crochet into each stitch all the way around, which is pretty simple. We're just working a single crochet into every stitch all the way around. You're going to want to do this for 2 rounds. This pattern has a lot of rounds where we'll just be single crocheting in each stitch around. So when I get to those rounds, I'll likely be speeding through it in the video. So I'll just say, okay, this next blank amount of rounds, we're going to single crochet in each stitch. And I'll just skip to when I have finished those single crochets. So you don't have to just sit here and watch me like this. If you want to follow along in the pattern, and you want to skip to specific rounds, I actually have all the rounds written in the description of this video. And if you click the links, the little time codes next to each round, it will skip you straight to that round. So that way you can go back and forth and not miss any stitches or any rounds. Okay. So that's going to be the end of round 5. Okay? So for round 6, we're going to be working around this little stitch marker here. For round 6, you want to work a single crochet in the first, and then an increase in the next. Okay? And you'll repeat that 6 times total, which is going to bring us up from 12 stitches to 18. So we'll do it again, single crochet, and then increase. And we'll repeat that 6 times total. We've done 2. So here's 3. And there's going to be a lot of repeats just like this. Here's 4 throughout our pattern. Crochet, here's 5, and 1 more right here. Okay, so work around this tail here. For the next 2 rounds, round 7 and 8, we're going to be just working a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So let me get those 2 rounds done, and I'll be right back in just a second. Okay, so for round 9, we're going to be working around this tail again. You want to single crochet 2, 1 and 2, and then increase in the next, 3 and 4. And you'll be repeating that 6 times total, which is going to bring us up from 18 stitches to 24 stitches. Doing math on the spot, my mom would be so proud. My mom is a high school teacher. She teaches in Southern California, and she always very much encouraged me to do well in school. And then I majored in anthropology and did nothing with it, and now I crochet for a living. So, yeah. There's a little insight into who I am. All right. So for our next 2 rounds, rounds 10 and 11, let's go ahead and stuff these tail ends in here. For rounds 10 and 11, we're just going to be single crocheting into each stitch all the way around. So I'm going to probably cut here. But actually, I would like to ask, what did you guys major in? Let me know if you're, or where are you in school? Are you currently in school? Did you go to college? What'd you major in? I'm always actually really interested to see what other crocheters do, because crocheting is a very interesting hobby where pretty much anybody background does it. There's not any specific like mind any specific mind that is a crocheter. I know very mathematical minds that crochet, people that are really good at school, and then I also know people that are just really creative and not very good in school that are really good at crocheting. So yeah, I just find that really interesting. Let me know in the comments what you do, or how do you think. So we'll be almost done with these 2 rounds. Looks like we didn't even need to cut here. All right. That's nice. I don't know if anybody even watches these parts of the videos where I talk in between rounds, but I don't know. It helps me pass the time. Let me know again in the comments if anybody even watches this part. Okay. So that is going to be the end of round 11. For round 12, we're going to be increasing again. So we'll single crochet in the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll increase in the next. 4 and 5. And you're going to repeat that 6 times total. This will bring you up from 24 stitches to 30 stitches. And we're almost at the part in our piece where there's just going to be a lot of repeating the same kind of technique. Yeah. So, yeah, once we get to around 36 stitches, we just kind of repeat the same process over and over again until we get to the size we want. And then it's all downhill from there. This pattern's actually pretty easy. It's a good pattern for beginners, and it's a good pattern for just really anybody, because who doesn't like a Santa hat? Okay. So that is going to be the end of round 12. For round 13 and 14, we're going to just be single crocheting into each stitch all the way around. There should be 30 stitches around. Okay, so that's going to be the end of round 14. For round 15, we're going to be increasing up from 30 stitches to 36. To do that, we're going to single crochet 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to increase in the next stitch right here. 5 and 6. Let's grab more yarn. And then we will repeat that process 6 times total, which will bring you up from, like I said, 30 stitches to 36 stitches. Okay. So we finished this round here. So for from here on, we're going to be doing a kind of a repetition. First, you want to single crochet into each stitch all the way around for 3 rounds. So for let's see, we just finished round 15. So for round 16, 17, and 18, 3 rounds total, we're going to single crochet into each stitch all the way around. And you'll start to see the repetition. So after every increasing round, from here till the size you want to do 3 rounds of single crochets. And I'll still be going through the entire pattern, but this is just a good way to know what you're doing in the pattern, and you might be able to do it without even using the pattern until you get to the size you want. But yeah, 3 rounds of just single crochets. I'll be right back. Okay, So that's going to be the end of round 18 and our 3 single crochet rounds. Here you can see our increase right there, and there's our 3 single crochet rounds. So for the next round, we are going to be doing another increasing round. So in our previous increasing round, we did 4 single crochets and then an increase, and we had 36 stitches around. Well, now we want to go from 36 stitches to 42 stitches around. So to do that, instead of doing 4 single crochets and then an increase and repeating 6 times, we're going to be doing 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then our increase right here, 6 and 7, and you'll repeat that 6 times total. This will bring you up to 42 stitches around. And we're going to continue this process of doing 3 single crochet rounds and then an increasing round all the way up until we get to a size that we want. Now, there's a few different ways you can find out what size you want. You can just try it on, put it on your head and see how it fits you. Or, let's see, 1, 2. Or you can follow along with me. I have 4 preset sizes. So if you're making an extra small size, you want to get up to 60 stitches around. If you're making a small size, you want to get to 66 stitches around. If you're making a medium size, which is what we'll be making in this video, because that's what fits me best, you'll be working to 72 stitches around. For a large size, we will be going to 78 stitches around. And for an extra large size, you'll be going to 84 stitches around. And to get to those increases, don't forget you need to do 3 single crochets between increasing rounds. So we'll be doing our 3 single crochet rounds after this, which we are just about done. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and don't worry, I'll be calling out when to stop for different sizes once we get there. So for our next 3 rounds, let's see, for rounds 20, 21, and 22, we're going to be just single crocheting into each stitch all the way around. 3 rounds of just single crochets. I'll be right back. Okay. So we have finished our 3 single crochet rounds, and now we want to do another increasing round. So for round 23, our next increasing round, we'll be working from, we have 42 stitches around currently, and we want to get to 48. So to do that, we single crochet 6 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we increase in the next right here. 7, 8. And you want to repeat that 6 times total, which again will bring you up from 42 stitches around to 48 stitches around. Okay, a few more. And here's a kind of cool thing. I don't really count what my stitches are between increases. The way that I find out where to increase next is I just look for where the previous increase was, and I know that my next increase should go where that last one was. So right here is my next increase, and the way I know that is if I look down, here is where our last increase was. You can see the 2 V's in one hole, and if I just follow that up, I know that that stitch, doop, 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 goes and lines up perfectly with the previous increase. I use that method so that I never have to, I don't really count. I don't count my stitches. I don't count my rounds. I don't need to count anything. I just need to look to see where the last one was. It's easier to do once you've been making more stuff. So if you're a beginner, I would very much suggest that you you continue counting your stitches. But if you're a veteran, a professional hooker, This is a cool technique so that you don't need to ever count your stitches or count your rounds. Okay, so we're at the end of our round here. Okay. So for our next 3 rounds, we'll be doing our single crochet rounds. So for rounds, let's see, what are we on? For rounds 24, 25, and 26, 3 rounds total, you want to single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So I'll go ahead and get that done, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we finished our 3 single crochet rounds. Now we're on to round 27, our next increasing round. So for this round, we're going to be increasing from 48 up to 54. And to do that, we'll be single crocheting 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we'll be increasing in the next right here. 8 and 9, and you'll be repeating that 6 times total. So continue doing 7 single crochets and then an increase 6 times around to bring you up from 48 stitches to 54 stitches. And I'll be right back. Okay, so we have finished our increasing round here. So now we have our 3 single crocheting rounds. So for rounds 28, 29, and 30, 3 rounds total, we'll just be single crocheting into each stitch all the way around. And you probably got the gist now. I'll fast forward to there. Our next increasing round will be our first size, for a size small. But I'll explain that when we get there. Okay, so I have finished my 3 rounds of single crochets, and now we'll be doing our next increasing round. Now this next increasing round is for a size small or extra small, which would probably be best for young children. I mean, look that's how large it's going to be, about that large. Let's get that round started though. So for this next round, we want to increase up from 54 stitches to 60 stitches. So to do that, we'll be single crocheting 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we'll be increasing into the next round, 9 and 10. And you'll repeat that process 6 times total. This is going to bring you up from 54 stitches to 60 stitches. And like I was saying, this is going to be for small children. And yeah, you probably should measure this on whoever's head you're going to be making this for before you decide it's the size you want. It might be too small. It might be too large. Too large is fine, I think. I kind of like it when it's a little bit too large for my head. It's a little cozier. And I think too large is better. It's better to be too large than too small when it comes to beanies, because too small, it's just unwearable. Okay, so we're at our last 2 stitches here. There we go. So if you are making a size extra small, skip to the time code on the screen now. That is where you'll be making just single crochets until you get to the length that you want. But if you're making a size larger than extra small, continue on with us. We'll be continuing our repeats now. Okay, so for our next 3 rounds, we just finished 31, so 32, 33, 34, you're going to do just a single crochet into each stitch around. Yeah, you know the deal. 3 rounds of just single crochets. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I finished my single crochet rounds here. Right there. Now, you can see there are little markers getting a little small here, so I'm going to show you how I just move that up. I just grab onto one of the markers down lower, and if you just pull it out, might be a little tough. I probably should have done one a little closer. There we go. And we're going to pull it out on the inside a few stitches up. Let's go like right here. Okay, we just want to pull that marker up a little bit. And now we can just pull this one. Don't pull it all the way out though. Just about that far. So we can still keep our marker along but move it up a little bit. Okay. So next up we're going to be increasing to our size small, our small size increases. So put this little stitch marker down. Okay. So we're going to be increasing from 60 to 66. So to do that, we will single crochet 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oop, there you go. 8 and 9, and then we'll be increasing in the next 10 and 11, and you'll repeat that process 6 times total. This is going to bring you up from 60 stitches to 66 stitches, and after this round you can skip over for a size small. A size small would be good for teenagers, young adults. I know my cousin, who, even though she is pretty much my age, I think she's 20, actually she's a little younger, she's 23 or 24. She wears a size small. My dad wears a size small. So it's not necessarily the age, but how large their head is. My dad has a very tiny head, so he wears a size small. Okay. But I'll explain it more once I'm done with this round. Okay. Finishing up our last increase here. So again, if you're making a size small, that is for young adults or just people with slightly smaller heads. You'll skip now to the time code on the screen now. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but somewhere on the screen for the next part. Okay, so if you're making it a slightly larger, continue on. So for our next 3 rounds, we're just going to be single crocheting into each stitch around. Again, just doing that same process of just 3 rounds of just single crochets. So I'll go ahead and get those 3 rounds made for us, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so we're at the end of our single crochet round here. Let's put this stitch marker over again. So there we go. It's getting a little confusing. There we go. Okay, so for our next round, we're going to be increasing to a size medium, which is the size that we're going to be doing for this video because size medium fits me. So for the next round, we'll be single crocheting. We'll be increasing from 66 to 72 stitches around. To do that, you want to single crochet 10 times. Ooh. Get our crochet hook in there. There we go. single crochet 10 times, and then we'll be increasing one. So let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then we'll be doing an increase in the next 1 and 2. Okay, so you want to repeat that 6 times total. That's going to bring you up from 60 stitches around to 72 stitches around. So this is going to be the last size that I'm going to be showing you through the video. But if you want to increase to a size large or a size extra large, you'll be continuing the process of doing 3 single crochet rounds and then an increasing round. And then then you can go to the next part, which is what we'll be doing after this increasing round. But again, if you're making a size large or extra large, just keep repeating the process of doing an increasing round. The next increasing round for you would be 11 single crochets and then an increase. And then after doing an increasing round, do 3 single crochet rounds. Okay, so nearly done. Okay, so I've increased to the size that I would like. There is our size medium if you're following along. Okay, so now that I've increased to a size that I want, I need to make the length of our piece. So to do that, we're just going to be single crocheting into each stitch around. Now the length depends on who the hat is for, and it depends on how long you make it. Depends on the person, is what I'm saying. I like to make it to get to midway between my ear when I put it on. So if I put this on right now, it would go just probably above my ear, and I want it to increase all the way down, probably about that far, or not increase, just single crochets all the way around until it's about like that long, and it reaches midway between my ear. For me, that will be probably around 12 rounds of single crochets. So, depending on the person you're making this for, depends on how many rounds you're going to be doing. But every round is just going to be a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. I'm not even going to pull through my stitch marker here because I know where my end is. And you're just going to be working single crochet stitches in each round for however many rounds you feel you need to get to the length that you want. For me, that's probably going to be around 12 rounds of single crochets. All right. Well, I'll be back at the end to show you what to do next, but this will be quite a long part where I'm just going to be single crocheting into each stitch. So I'm going to go watch a movie. I'm thinking The Grinch Who Stole Christmas and just single crochet. All right. Well, I'll be back in just a little bit.
Okay, so I have finished my 12 rounds here, and you can see how long I generally like to make it. Here's where we stopped before, so it's decently long, and I'll show you what it looks like on my head. So when you put it on your head, or whoever you're making it for, it should stick out right above the ear. That's where it should lie when you put it on your head. Also, this is kind of funny. You can kind of see it stands straight up like this. This depends on how tightly you're crocheting. If you crochet a little too tight, it will stay like this forever. But if you crochet relatively tight, but not like crazy tightly, it will stay like this when you want it to. But if I just pinch it like that, it lies wherever I want it to. And it will weigh down a little bit more when I have a pom-pom on the top. It'll like kind of hold it down a little bit more. Also, if you're making the ears to put on the sides, when I make my ears, I actually like to make it make them on a, where is it? Here we go. On a button. So you can kind of see right here, they button on. This way I don't have to have them sewn on permanently, and I could take them off whenever I want, and if I don't want the button to show, I just poke it through the brim. So if you are making these elf ears and you want to have them button on, get buttons that are, these are almost 1 inch in diameter. And how you know where to put them on the hat. When you put it on, make sure the loop is in the back, right in the back of my head, and take a stitch marker or a piece of string on a needle and find where your ears are when it's on your head like this. So right here is where one ear is. Okay. And right here's where my other ear is. All right. And then you could take it off. And that is where I'll be sewing on the button. And then when it comes to the brim, I'll show you when we get to it, but when it comes to the brim and you're at the button, we'll actually be skipping some stitches to make a buttonhole if you have the buttons. If not, it's not a big deal. We just don't make a buttonhole. Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and sew the buttons on here. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please let me know by liking the video down below and subscribing. And if you push notifications, you'll be notified whenever I post a new pattern or project. You push notifications by clicking that little bell icon. Also, if you're ready to move on to the next section, the brim, there should be a box right here, or there's a link in the description, or you can go to clubcrochet.com/SantaHat, and the next video should be there. Thanks so much for watching. Pasta la pizza, and happy hooking.